that one time I recorded one of these and I didn't record it actually. I just hosted it. It was amazing. And anyway, so great to have you here. Ariel, just tell everyone a little bit about what you do because you actually run a really cool business. I purchased your stuff before and it's awesome. Dream Course Camp. It's freaking amazing. So tell us a little bit, everyone, about what you do and who you help.
Yeah. So I own DreamPro, which is a course creation agency for business owners. We've been around since 2019 and we develop courses, digital products, and AI tools for business owners and creators.
Yeah, amazing. I think what you do is so damn key because there's so many people that have no idea how to actually help clients get results, which is kind of the most important thing we should be doing, especially if we want to focus on marketing and getting sales. So I want to start like when we started working together, was that I think in late spring or early summer? I can't remember, but you ended up joining the mid-ticket install where we sat down and I worked with you on one of your workshops. So tell me what was going on a little bit before joining that.
Yeah. So that was in May. Before that, I had basically, long story short, that fall, I had my daughter, my first child. And when I came back from maternity leave, that was a big aha moment of I need to change just how I'm doing things in business. And obviously, I've had my agency, but at the same time, even though we were developing courses for other people, we had plenty of courses and they weren't doing anything. So in March, I set up my funnels and they immediately started bringing people into my world. And it's been awesome because having the low ticket model, I was able to just essentially, instead of paying for people to opt into our services guide for free and just paying $15 a person, now I'm actually making money for my stuff and bringing people into my community that are a great fit for our services. And at that point, I was like, okay, I have these low ticket things and I have my services, which are great. And I really need to think of a strategic way to blend both of these worlds because it took me a long time for me to realize that you're told this is one client avatar, this is another client avatar, and basically they're not the same, but at the same time, that was not the case. And that was the mindset thing I had to get rid of back then. I was like, oh, this mid-ticket install seems really great. And I just really value getting outside perspective from somebody that's just not in the weeds of my stuff every day to see what is it that I'm not seeing and what are maybe some opportunities. So that's when I was like, I like Zach's vibe and I like what he's talking about. So let's do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you came in, like what was the one big thing you were really looking for when you're joining? Because it sounded like your low ticket. I think it was funny when you joined my world is when I started seeing all your ads everywhere. Just meta knows. But you had these low ticket offers running. Like what was the big thing that you really wanted the most help with when it came to that install? What was the one thing you were looking for?
So my low ticket offer at the time was it was like a course validation system and it was I think I was selling it at the time for $7, but then I ended up upgrading it to 17, but it was pretty low, like low ticket, but also I do sometimes work with people that are looking beyond just that, right? Like the type of ideal client that we have is somebody who's really thoughtful in terms of getting their clients results and they want a really high quality polished product. They're not looking to just create something in one day and slap it together. And not that there's anything wrong with doing things quick and dirty, but like we obviously provide a really high end service. So we're looking for a different type of person. And so even though my low ticket product was doing great and it was great bringing in great people who would be awesome fits for our own courses, some of those people just really, it didn't make sense in terms of our services. And so I was like, how can I have something that's low, mid ticket on the front end, bringing in maybe just a different type of person that would be a good fit for our services. And I really struggled with knowing what that product was. So what I was looking for essentially was for me to be able to say to somebody I trust, here's what's going on. What do you think would be great on the front end of this? And what does that positioning need to look like? And I just really wanted to get that type of perspective so I could see, okay, because that was definitely like a missing part, I felt like. And since then, we could talk about the transformation, but since then, that product has been like absolute bestseller in terms of people grabbing it. So it's been awesome to have it.
So let's dive in. So that's a great frame too, because I think that I always say, depending on what offer you put on the front end, is who you're going to get in the back end. And like I've built offers that have had amazing amounts of sales, but then the ascension is terrible. But then I've had others that the take rate on the front is a little bit lower, but the Ascension is just so good that it just makes up for it. So when we started working together, I remember that was the framework offer, right? Like we were working on creating frameworks. How would you describe to someone that actual process of getting started and sitting down together and actually building that out? What was that experience like on your end?
That was really easy. You had a really thorough intake process, which I appreciated because I knew that you were really trying to understand my business and what I was looking for. And that way, when we did meet, like we were able to come up with a really thoughtful approach. And I felt like you really understood my frame of mind, positioning, and our brand. And so I think number one, it was really easy, but at the same time, it wasn't like so easy that I felt like I was going to get a shit end product. You made it really easy. I think I just filled out my stuff in under an hour and then just waited for our call. And yeah, the call itself, we knocked out the sales page, the whole offer essentially. Or maybe we didn't, I don't know. We had a long conversation. I remember that. We were talking about a bunch of stuff
Yeah.
and it was all super helpful. So yeah, it was great.
Amazing. Yeah. Tell us what happened then. So I remember I built that offer, sent you some ads after you just built the page and drive car, which I love drive car for how simple it is. Share what happened after you launched that. Like, how did the actual launch go? What happened? And we'll start there. Like, how did that actual launch go when you did launch it?
Good. I think it went up for $100 in terms of price. And I think I ended up having 26 people by the end of it in terms of getting people to that. There's a really good show up rate. There's probably like 10 to 15 people on there live, which I think is really great for being in the
Great.
middle of the
Yeah.
day type of thing. And the cool thing afterwards too is number one, I got really great feedback from that. I basically just repurposed an old training that I had and like really brought it into this time. So I wasn't starting from scratch, which made it really easy, but I was able to like really refine it and just have this lens of, okay, this is where it's leading and this is what it'll help people with. And the cool thing about this is 26 people. So like about $2,600 from just the workshop, but people got also, I had some upsells at the end. So I made several $1,000s from just the workshop. But then afterwards, I turned that into its own funnel. And I've now experimented with making this actually the bump of that original offer, the course validation.
Cool.
And because I was having actually, when I was like doing the funnel stuff, like, I don't know, sometimes it would do great and other times it just wouldn't. And it was just very finicky in terms of results for that specific product. But what I
Mm,
found here is actually really well with the course validation system. So I'm still able to sell it really well. And so we have several hundred people that have purchased that workshop since either in funnels or afterwards during promos. And I'm like constantly getting praise about how practical it is. And especially just, yeah. So it's been awesome.
That's awesome. I freaking love that. Have you found that like clients have ascended from that one compared to the course validation one?
I'd say a mix of both. Like I would say most people that have reached out about services have that product at least.
Sweet.
So I don't know if it came exactly from that, but it's
Mm.
usually people that have purchased several things from me and then they're like, okay, I'm in all your stuff. It's great. And now I understand why people pay you because I don't want to do this.
That's always what happens. It's rare people buy just like one thing. They buy like multiple different points. I remember when you did tell me at one point, you were said there was like a few people that ascended to your back end from that. Do you have any numbers you'd be able to share, like as far as that front goes, as far as like how many people purchased? And if not, that's cool. Want to respect that, obviously, but if you have any ideas,
I don't know off the top of my head, but I would definitely say five figures, like multiple five figures for sure. But I don't have the exact number.
cool. That's amazing. I love, yeah, that's what I do. Like that's what lights me up. What would you say like to folks that are thinking about doing this or getting some help on getting their offers dialed in after having a multi five-figure launch with this then?
Yeah, I think one of the greatest things that you can do in business is work with somebody who you can trust. And I think who's like incredibly present with you in terms of working relationship. And what I've always appreciated is you very much so seek to understand who you're working with. So that way they can have incredible results. And I know that comes from you also seeing yourself having incredible results and knowing what goes into that. And I don't like working with people who are just like, oh yeah, whatever you're doing, that just sounds great. I want to work with somebody who's able to lovingly challenge me and say, hey, have you thought about this? Or here's another way to look at it. And I think, nowadays it's rare to find people that are able to do that in a really effortless way. And so I've really appreciated, especially that. And I think sometimes it really is like one of those, sometimes the smallest ships can make the biggest change. And I think what I saw from us working together was definitely a chain reaction, because after that workshop, I ran my custom GPT workshop, which that is done insanely well. I've paired those together. And even just from digital products alone, I definitely sold multiple five figures just from our work together outside of the services that people have purchased, which is great. And more so than that, it's really just helped inspire me in terms of things that I create in the future, which obviously will bring in more revenue and help people in different ways. So yeah.
That's what I love. I really appreciate you for doing that too. You're someone that actually just, okay, I understand this model. It worked this time. I'm now going to go do that again over and over again, which is exactly what we want to do. And I've always had that from people that I'll give them one of these and it will work and they'll just never do it again. And it's like,
Yeah, I picked something in a row. Like I did the custom GPT workshop. I did
yeah,
a one for service providers that did really well too. And that one actually, my ads didn't do so great, but I sold so many seats organically, so it didn't even matter. And I was like, now I don't have ads then to worry about. I'm just gonna fill this up.
yes,
I think it's already here. But yeah, I think it's smart. And I think just the hyper focus of each of those products and experiences have made it, number one, easier for me, because when you're actually like live with people, you're able to see how they're reacting to things. And I truly made them workshops. I was able to like gather their feedback and help them live. And that has brought so much just into like how I think about the types of people that I help and what else I can create for them. I think it's a master, it's my whole business is built around this, but it is a skill, and it is such a skill to master, to be able to create experiences for other people that help them. And the more you do, the easier it gets. And then obviously revenue comes from that. But yeah, like just what you get live with people is invaluable. And then being able to turn it into something that you just sell like immediately afterwards. I literally was able to hit publish on my ads the very next day and have a funnel out of that too. So it was pretty easy, which was great.
love that. I love that. And again, I'm just like, whenever somebody can take that idea and the principle, it's someone told me this, and I think it's so valuable, is that if you can take the principles behind something and then apply them over and over again, you'll be very successful, because the most successful people, they work in principles. And that's exactly what you did. So kudos to you, especially doing it with a newborn baby. That is like my utmost full respect to the people that say, I don't have time to do this stuff. You're running an agency. You have a brand new child. Like, it's absolutely amazing. So Ariel, I appreciate this so much. I'm so excited for you. And everyone, definitely go check out your stuff too, Ariel's stuff. It's really damn good. She does teach people how to do that for a living and make really good products. And I do believe that the number of people I've had conversations with about saying, yeah, if you want to send more clients, like, you should be talking about a number of things and making your product really good, because the ascension will happen so much more naturally from that. Highly recommend your stuff too. It's been amazing to go through. I've bought a few of your programs and they're awesome. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate it.